Can India and China be friends? This question is asked especially after what has happened in the recent past. If you remember closely, recent past in 2020, there was a border conflict. Okay, border conflict that involved Galwan Valley and also involved the troops on both the sides to come in hand-to-hand combat. Okay, rising from where that was the lowest point in the India-China relations. Okay, because that was only after 1975 that such kind of a border clash had taken place. Can India and China come back together, go for cooperation, not act as rivals, not act as hostile competitors? Can this kind of a thing happen? Another question that is to be answered is the fact that why would India and China, after the conclusion of their high-level meeting, would require such kind of a cooperation between the two countries? Welcome students to Legacy IAS. In this particular video, we are going to understand what does this statement mean when it comes to China and India relations. Okay, and also with respect to China and India, what are the benefits that are derived because of this positive momentum in the continuing relations between India and China. Okay, so let us read the first title: Cooperative Partners Instead of Rivals. China after strategic dialogue with India. Okay, so this kind of a dialogue that has concluded as a high-level meeting in New Delhi is something that can be marked off a beginning of a new chapter between India and China relations. Okay, understanding this because this is very significant. Why? Because China has urged India to uphold strong partnership and signals cooperation amid regional tensions. Okay, regional tensions basically in China is indicating to India that we understand that there are regional tensions, there are border disputes, there are conflicts. Okay, there is way many problems with respect to where your troops are stationed, where our troops are stationed, and building of infrastructure. All of this creates a lot of regional tensions. Okay, but despite all of that, let us go for a positive momentum by cooperating with each other and upholding strong partnership despite of these kind of issues being prevalent. Okay, let us have a mindset that is more solution oriented rather than problem oriented. Okay, so this type of a thaw in the relationship that has been cold since 2020, why it was cold in 2020, that is something that we need to see. Okay, as you can see the picture, okay, this is back in 2020 and this is about, you would have heard, Galwan Valley. Okay, this is east of Ladakh. Okay, that is along the line of actual control. Okay, Aksai Chin, that is the disputed area that is India rightfully claims as theirs, but China is the one that occupies it. Okay, in these areas there was a, with respect to in the year of 2020, that is 6 years back, there was a dispute between the Indian troops and the Chinese troops. Okay, so Indian troops and Chinese troops went for hand-to-hand combat. Okay, they threw rocks at each other and also they hit each other with sticks. Okay, that kind of a hand-to-hand combat led both of the countries to realize that this kind of a border tension can lead to something very big and may also escalate into a warlike situation. So both the countries decided that they will move their troops back from those border areas. Okay, since then, these events have only led to India and China becoming a rival of each other, becoming hostile to each other. With respect to India, they banned certain apps, certain Chinese apps. Okay, with respect to trade, also there were certain kind of issues that were raised between India and China. Okay, so coming back from this past, right now, why does India and China go for such kind of a partnership? Okay, first, there has been, with respect to this high level meeting, there has been an understanding that the future of the relationship can only be with cooperation and it should not be confrontation. It means that there must be a problem. The earlier problem mindset is now converting itself into solution oriented. That is, you should be cooperating, whether it is with respect to trade, whether it is with respect to understanding and resolving border disputes, whether it is with respect to people contact. All of this requires that they cooperate with each other and are not confrontational in each other's aspects. The second thing is developmental partners. Both the countries realize that they are emerging economies. Okay, they are part of BRICS, right? And this means that both of these developing countries can become and learn from each other the best practices that are required for the welfare of their own citizens, as well as the spillovers of these trade can also bring about welfare of the citizens in the other country, right? Third, peace and tranquility at borders. Okay, this is something that is pushed by India for an understanding that peaceful borders are the ones that are responsible for the dialogues on the table. Okay, if something is not peaceful, if there are border tensions, if there are border disputes, conflicts, then that would definitely not lead to any kind of development. Therefore, there must be clear demarcation of the boundaries. There must be an understanding, mutual agreement of how much area is devoted, demarcated with respect to each of these countries, right? So this is for protecting. India wants to protect its territorial integrity, okay, through resolution of any kind of border conflicts. Fourth, people to people contact. Okay, there has been opening of Kailash Mansarovar pilgrimage also, and this has also led to a positive build up with respect to people contacts. Further, with respect to the connectivity that is required under the policy that is for the neighboring countries, your neighborhood first policy that India follows, it also enhances connectivity with respect to the other neighboring countries. Okay, and in this regard, this kind of a development is also something that is very appreciated, and it is something that links both the countries very closely when their people are connected. Fifth, positive momentum. All of this in which we talk about them not being rivals. That is, we understand that the competition would exist. Okay, there is economics and there would be competition that exists, but this competition would be held in a healthy manner. Okay, not something that would make both the countries hostile of each other's situations or taking each other's advantages when they are at a low point. So this builds a positive momentum in the relationships of both the countries. Now, moving forward, what what are the situations that China and India are in at present point of time with respect to their international relations that makes them come to this point, coming back from the past in 2020 up until now in 2026, to have such kind of a maturity going forward? Is this something that is expected out of China? Yes, if we see what are the situations that it is presently in. First, pressure from Japan, US, and Philippines. Okay, China has been seen to be a bit notorious with respect to its border disputes and resolution mechanism for borders. It is seen to be ever expanding in nature, and also that is why it runs into problems with respect to South China Sea. Not only this, it also faces problems when it tries to compete with other superpowers for becoming a developed country like US. Okay, and US also wants its own dominance in the Indo-Pacific zone, right? That is something that comes at crossroads with China. In all of this situation that China is facing, they want stability. Okay, they want stability. It can be said to be one of the reasons that they do not want to escalate things with their own neighbor. Okay, any kind of this border tension or conflict will be something that would escalate the cost as well as spread their resources thin. Okay, with respect to India, India also cannot afford a two-front war. Okay, it is something that is undesirable. And when we talk about development and welfare, the funds that are used to justify the border conflicts or border disputes between these two countries can very well be utilized in the welfare of the citizens, okay, in research, in various kinds of trade deals, right? So this kind of an economic stability is something that is also desired by India in this process. Okay. Now moving forward, continuing positive momentum. Okay. So understanding if India and China want to go forward with this kind of a positive momentum, what are the conflicts that they need to resolve at the earliest? One, is the boundary dispute that India definitely wants to have its territorial integrity, and therefore there must be clear demarcation of borders, and there should be no violations when it comes to border disputes. Second, strategic influence in the neighborhood. Both the countries are one of the biggest economies, and they are also by their area they are quite large, and they are also having the one of the largest populations in the world. It is said that combining the population of China as well as India, you would get one-third population of the world, right? So this means that this kind of a strategic influence in the neighborhood can be something that can be shared and must not be treated as a zero-sum game. Okay. Third, technology and supply chains. At present, we see that a lot or many supply chains that is required, for example, rare earth elements, they are dominated by China. Okay, and therefore these kind of supply chains must be ensured with respect to India that they are not used as an advantage against India by China. Okay, and this trust deficit, the trust deficit that has occurred post 2020, it is something that needs to be resolved as well. Okay, now what are the cooperation, what are the stages in which the cooperation can take place? So cooperation is possible in these manner. First is multilateral forums on like BRICS as well as Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Okay, both of these, both India as well as China are part of these platform. One you could say is for economic engagement, and the other with respect to security. Okay, so their engagement with respect to these sectors can be proved in the multilateral platforms. Then global south issues, because they have the similar developmental strategy, therefore their voices must be heard at the global level with respect to both of them trying and engaging with each other. Then climate development finance, and then trade, limited but it can be cautious, right? In the light of the trade deals that has been struck by US, this can be something that India and China can cooperate on. So that was the news with respect to India and China. Thank you so much.